Hey everyone, 11 million or roughly 1/3 of all Canadians are going to start receiving checks as of today. And in fact, you might have already received it. And this amount could be all the way up to $628. This is part of the GST HST rebate that was part of the affordability plan from the Liberal government. They said, hey, people need a little bit of extra money here to get through. So we're going to double their GST rebate for up to two periods, or rather 6 months. Now, this is something that has been a long time coming. They passed it through the House of Commons with Bill C-30. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how you can figure out how much you are going to get, or perhaps you have already received, as well as what upcoming supports there might be over the next 6 months that have been at least talked about in the House of Commons.
For the Canadians who need it the most, we are doubling the GST credit for the next 6 months. And I have some very good news about that. For the 11 million Canadian households who need help the most, those GST checks will start arriving in your bank account or in your mailbox tomorrow.
So here are all the details. We've got a one-time payment, which is a little bit of a surprise. They said that they would just be doubling the amount that you'd receive on each of your next two periods of this, which happens every 3 months. But it looks like instead of doing that and sort of lumping it into the GST payments, they wanted to keep it a little cleaner so that they could just send you one payment starting right now. So you won't expect to get another one of these in January, which is what some people expected. You're gonna get the lump sum right now. And here's how you calculate the amount for you. You can see on this chart here, if you're single, you could get up to 234 with no children, 387 with one child, with two, 467, 548, 628, and then these amounts if you are married or have a common law partner. This is kind of like a little bit of a worse deal, right? If you live with someone, have a common law partner, you might get your GST together, and that's why these amounts are slightly more for some instances here, but this is just like the combined between the two of you, what you will get. And we can see here, starting today is when these are going to start going out. A lot of people will have direct deposit already set up with their CRA account, so you could just see that enter your bank account. Otherwise, you might be checking the mailbox to see when you're going to get this. Probably over the next week or 2 weeks, you'd receive this up to $628 check. But there is something that makes it a little bit different depending on what amount you're going to get based on one criteria, and that is your income, right? Depending on your income, you might not be getting this check, or you might be getting more or less of the total portion that I just mentioned, and you can calculate that really easily right here. Here you can see all of the maximum amounts that show you when you start not getting this GST credit and when you wouldn't be eligible for this one-time GST credit payment. You can see here for a single person, we've got a max cap of $49,000 on tax reported income, right? And you can see, you can pause the video here and see which family structure situation makes sense for you. And if you are underneath this income range, then you would receive the amount that is relative to the amount that you make, which I'm going to show you right now. Here you can see the chart that shows how much you get on a yearly basis for this GST credit based on the amount of income you make, and the more income you make, the less you get for this GST credit. This is calculating the yearly amount, right? So in order to calculate the amount that you should be getting in this one-time payment, you just take whatever number is in this box and cut it in half, and that should be your extra GST that you're getting, right? Because we have a doubling for 2 periods, that's like an additional 6 months of this GST benefit. I'm going to remove myself from the screen here so that you can see the whole thing. You should be able to hear me now and not see me. So there is the single chart, and if you want to pause that there, you can, and I'm going to scroll down now so you can see the married or common law chart, similar chart, but different amounts there. And now a quick chat about what other supports might be coming up here in the next little while. Yesterday we had the fall economic update. I made a ton of videos on the channel, so you can go back and check that out if you want to see the full summary of everything that was said and Canada's plan economically for the next 6 months before we get a budget in April. But let me break down some of the direct supports that could be coming. Now, we just received this GST credit. It's a one-time payment. That's all we're going to get for it. We thought that it might again come again in January, but they just did a lump sum right now instead. So that is over and done with. We're expecting the Bill C-31 to receive royal assent very soon, and that includes the dental benefit as well as the rental housing top-up for low-income renters. This dental benefit could be up to $600 per child per year over the next 2 years, I believe, that to help children under 12 go to the dentist. That's what this benefit is for, and it seems like it's going to happen. So subscribe to the channel and I'll update you when you could start to see that additional income coming your way. Now, the other thing here is the rental housing benefit, and it's a little bit harder to see if this is something you're eligible for. Each individual province has a rental housing benefit that they administer with the federal government, so you're going to need to check with your province to see if you're eligible for it. Some provinces might be accepting applications still. Some people might automatically receive this. Depending on your province, it's going to be different, so you might want to look into that. But an additional $500 for people who were already eligible for that Canada housing benefit, that rental housing benefit. And then we see the potential support that could come down the pipeline that isn't currently in legislation, right? It's not already in a bill that's being debated right now. As of the economic update that we received yesterday, it seems like the NDP as well as the Conservatives are pretty pissed at the Liberal government that they haven't provided any kind of support or reduction in taxes for Canadians over this winter, especially with energy costs expected to rise.
So we're deeply concerned about the lack of concern about what Canadians are going through. But we're not going to give up the fight just because we don't see the elements in the fall economic statement. We put forward the idea of doubling the GST tax credit in the spring, and tomorrow Canadians are going to finally receive it. So we didn't give up fighting for Canadians, and we were able to secure a victory for Canadians, money in their pockets. The same way we'll continue to keep the pressure going and fight back to make sure Canadians get some support over this cold winter coming up.
And there are, frankly, many more things that the government in Ottawa could be doing in order to ease that burden for Canadian households. We've been pushing for a long time now to see the GST removed from home heating costs. That's something that can make a difference for Canadian families as we get ready for another cold winter.
So the NDP and the Conservatives are both pushing the Liberal government to do some sort of rebate or some sort of elimination of tax on home heating costs. That's something that we're going to have to keep our eyes on and see if there is enough pressure for it in the House of Commons. This could look like either a rebate that gets sent back to you or just somehow an elimination on your bills here, but it seems like it would be more likely that it would be sort of something that would give you back after the fact, because it's pretty hard to work with all the individual home heating companies like all of the gas companies to actually make this elimination of tax charge on this a reality. But of course, as always, if you want to stay posted on this sort of stuff along with other information that Canadians are going to find important, specifically when it comes to Canadians and their money, then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and like the video. It definitely helps out the channel and you're supporting Canadian content when you do it. But with all of that said, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Really hope this video helped you out at least a little bit, and I'll see you next time.